Hello everyone and welcome to OlaJoe. I am the Crocheting Sailor and I am coming to you with a video tutorial on how to do a scarf. And this is going to be a smaller version of it. And we will be using two different yarns, and I will show how to join a separate color yarn, but feel free to use one color yarn throughout the whole scarf. So what you will need for this project will be a 6mm hook, crochet hook. You will need a pair of scissors and also a darning needle, also called a tapestry needle. And you will need worsted weight yarn, a worsted weight 4. This is Red Heart Super Saver, and there are 364 yards in this ball, and this color is medium time. If you would like to use this color, you can use any worsted weight 4 yarn that you would like. Also, I will be using Red Heart Super Saver in Dusty Gray is what this color is. It's very, very pretty. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, I went ahead and pulled out a scarf that I have, and what I did was I folded it in half. See if I can get this all in there. And you can go ahead and spread yours out if your room, the space that you have allows for it, and you can measure the length of the scarf. Okay, so this goes to 32 inches folded in half, and if we double that, that'll be 64 inches, and that's how long you would want the scarf to hang. This is a perfect way for you to determine the length of a scarf, is to mimic the size that you have of one that you already own and it's been manufactured in on a machine. So what I did was I put our sample right here. Now this is going to mimic the beginning and the end part of our scarf. So this part right here will be up here. Okay, so this green section right here is going to be a little bit bigger. I also, since this is rounded off, I put this back here, right where the line is. Okay, and this is how we're going to make the scarf, and how long we're going to make it and how wide we're going to make it. This will help you to determine what your size is going to be. So I hope this helped you out. Okay, go ahead and get your 6mm hook and make a slip knot and make your desired number of chains. Now, when I made my scarf from beginning to end, I came up with 260 chains, and it was for a male. He was pretty tall. I don't know how many inches he was. So I'm going to do a little small one a little bit longer than my sample, and we are going to do half double crochets. That's what these are. So we'll go ahead and yarn over, and we're going to go into these back loops here. You see that? That's how we're able to get the very nice edge like you see here. And on the other side, it makes it look really neat. So you'll yarn over, and then you'll go into this back loop. Now if you have a problem, you see it's kind of hard to get in there, you can always take your tapestry needle, and then you can kind of lift it up a little bit This is a little trick. You see how I loosened it up? Can you all see that? So you can yarn over, and then you can slide your crochet hook right on in there. Just like that. And then you're going to yarn over and pull up a loop, and then yarn over, and then you'll pull up all three. That's a half double crochet. And then you're just going to follow this all the way across. Just like this. You can yarn over. And you're going to go right under that bump. And I'll meet you back at the end. You see how it looks? Okay, make sure that you wait for me at the end. Don't do the last one. Don't go into the last loop, because what we are going to do is change our yarn. Okay, now we are going to join our yarn. So before we do that, we are going to yarn over, and then we're going to go into that bump there. Insert your hook. Just like that. We'll yarn over and we'll pull up a loop. And now what we're going to do is we are going to drop this green yarn and pick up our second yarn if you're going to switch. And now we are going to pull through all three. You see that? And now you're going to take that green yarn, the one that you dropped, and we are going to tie this together just like this, and not too tight. You see how I did that? And then we're going to do it twice. Now what you're going to do is you're going to take your scissors and you are going to cut that green yarn. I'm just going to go ahead and make it even, just like this. And voila, you have joined your yarn. And if you have to, you can make it a little tighter. If you need to, pull it a little tighter. Just like that. There we go. We want to make sure that it doesn't come out. So now we are going to chain 2, 1, 2, turn our work, and we are going to work in the back loops. So here's the first loop and the second loop. So we'll yarn over and we'll go into that loop, pull up a loop, and then pull through all three. And we're going to do our half double crochets across. Now, for this particular pattern, we will be doing 2 rows of this color. And make sure when you're doing this that you count your stitches. Some people may not be able to determine whether or not they have come to the end of their project and completed that last one on the end. So in order to free your mind of that, you can do 2 things actually. You can count your stitches, and you can also put a stitch marker on the end of that last one before you turn your work. I'll pull my yarn. So then you'll know to make sure that you go into that last one and you don't miss a stitch. So you continue on in this fashion, and I'll meet you at the end. We're going to chain 2 when we come to the end. and turn our work. And then you're going to go right into the back stitch right there. You see that? Right there. You do your half double crochet. This is the second row of the half double crochets. So before you come to the last stitch, make sure you wait for me. And we can go ahead and join the yarn. This was a special request, was to show how the yarn is joined and also to make this scarf, which also matches the hat tutorial that I've done. And what I will do is I will put a link in the description box for the hat, so it'll be easier to find if you would like to do that also. So continue on, and I'll meet you back at the end. Okay, we've come to the end, so we'll yarn over. We'll put our hook into the back loop of that stitch, pull up a loop, and remember we'll have to yarn over and pull through all three, but we will be joining the yarn since this is the second row completed of our pattern here. So we will take this yarn and you're just going to place it around just like this. Just hold that together and pull through all three. You see that? And I'm still holding on to it. You are going to have to take these pieces. You see how it's kind of loose? Make sure you have these all together. We are going to take that green one, and we're going to have to take this gray one because we are cutting the gray, and green will become our working yarn. Going off camera, excuse me. So just going to cut that, move it out of the way, go ahead and make a tie here around here to secure it. And then I'll go one more time and just tie it off. That's why you see these. I did not weave in the ends so you can see that this is how it's going to look. You weave in your ends at the end of your project and see how that is? Comes out nicely. So now we'll chain 2 and turn our work. 1, 2. See? And we'll go ahead and do our half double crochet in this first stitch here. Oops. Then we'll continue across, and now this is going to be the yarn that we use for the majority of the scarf. So you can make as many of these rows as you need. I pull my yarn. Now if you do the hat before the scarf, it will make it easier for you to do the scarf tutorial, because you will have the half double crochet stitched down, and the only thing that really would be a concern for you would be joining the yarn. And that's why this tutorial is important, not just for the scarf, but also joining the yarn, because there was a request for 2 different colors, and this dusty gray color is the accent color. I'll pull my yarn again. So this was definitely needed. this tutorial here. I'm almost at the end of this, so I will continue to the end, and if you need to pause it so you can continue this row, you can do that right now, and then pick it back up when you come to the end. So now that we're at the end of the project, we're going to chain 2 and turn 1, 2, turn our work, and we're going to go into the first stitch, which is right here. You do your half double crochets in this back loop here. And continue across, and I'll meet you back at the end. See how that's going? And I'll pull my yarn too. Okay, now that we've come to the end, we are going to chain 2, 1, 2. We'll turn our work, and we'll do half double crochets all the way across. See how it's coming along? And this is where we are in the pattern. I'll put it side by side so you can see. And I'll meet you back at the end. Okay, we've come to the end. You see we have one left. And now what we'll do is chain 2 and turn our work. And now I am going to do 3 more rows of this. Now you can do as many rows as you need to for the body of your scarf. For this tutorial, I'm just doing a little small sample for you. So I'm only doing 3, but like I said and showed you earlier in the video, that you will need to do the rows for the middle part of the scarf, and then we will end by doing, stopping at least, I want to say 4 rows out. Let me show you what I'm referring to right here. When you do the rows for the body, if you notice, there's 1, 2, oh, there's actually 3. Okay, so 3 rows out, you will change your color. So change your color if you plan on doing so. And then you can change and do that color and do 2 rows and then 1 more row of your, just like we did at the beginning, 1 row of this green color here or whatever color that you choose to use. So I wanted to point that out to you. So I am going to finish this, and you can finish your rows, and then I'll come back when I get ready to change the color so I can show you how to do that again. So now we've come to the end of our rows for the body. So we are going to join our yarn, so we'll have to yarn over, insert the hook, and this is where we're going to actually drop this green yarn and then pick up the new yarn, and we're going to pull through all 3 loops just like this. Okay, and you can go ahead and lay your work down. You're going to pick up that green, and here's that gray that we're joining with. You take your scissors and you cut that green, and we are going to make a knot. Remember, not too tight. See, just nice and loose, because you can always tighten up a little bit more. And I always do a second one. Okay, so that's all set. And you can always make your adjustments. If you need to make it a little bit tighter, you can tug on it. I'll pull my yarn. We have dropped the green, and we are going to chain 2 and turn our work. Okay. We'll go ahead and do our half double crochets. Remember, we're doing 2 rows of these in dusty gray. So I hope you all are getting the hang of this. So finish this row and do another row of gray. And then I will meet you back at the end of the second row of gray. Okay, now we have come to the last stitch, and we are going to pull up a loop, and we're going to drop that gray, pick up our color we're going to join with, and you're going to slide it through these 3 loops. Okay, there we are. And we are going to do one more of that green color. All right, so there we are. I was wondering, I was like, where is my where is my yarn in? I found it. So I'm gonna drop this gray. Yes, make sure you're picking up the right color. There we go. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and chain 2. 1, 2. Turn our work. Okay, we are going to do a half double crochet in our first stitch here. And just work your way right on across, making your half double crochets in the back loop. I really hope this tutorial was very helpful for you. I was thinking also for this scarf you could do fringe. I need to do a tutorial on fringe, because if you knew the length of the fringe you wanted to do, I had an idea. Pull my yarn. And I've done this before. You can make the length of your tails, the length of the scarf fringe that you're going to do, and therefore you won't have to join it. I mean, you won't have to weave in those ends. You could actually leave them out. So I thought that was a great idea. So we have come to the end of this pattern of the scarf. So this is something that may be new for some, and some that may have already done something similar to this. So you can go ahead and cut your yarn. You're going to yarn over and pull it through. So you're going to tie off. And there we are. And voila. So another one done. So at the end, like I said, you can weave in your ends, or you can make fringe if you wanted to. It's entirely up to you. But I hope this was helpful. I enjoyed doing this with you, and I will be seeing you soon. Okay, so when you weave in your ends, I would suggest weaving them through the color that you've used, so they won't stick out like a sore thumb. And yes, it may be time consuming, but to me, it would be well worth the effort to do so. You see how I did that? Just go right underneath. You see, right underneath these stitches here. Just go in between, just like this. And after you've gone down for a nice little bit, you don't have to go too long. You can go ahead and just cut the end. So many different ways to weave in the ends. So then you can take the green one and do the same thing. I don't like weaving in ends. I don't know. I just don't. So I would just pull it through this way so I can lead it up to where the green starts, and just, you see where I am? And just keep going through those stitches. And if you can get your needle through a great deal of it, it'll be very, very quick. I try to be quick with weaving in my ends. And if you want, instead of just going straight down, you can weave it back and forth a couple of times, but for this particular one, I would more than likely do it this way. Just like that. So I wanted to let you know and show you, especially for the beginners, how to weave in your ends so they cannot be shown through your project. Okay.